Hello everyone, and welcome to what I have determined to be the most tedious Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 challenge. The challenge today is really quite simple. I am going to get every unique skill in the game. In fact, I'm going to take it a step even further beyond. I am going to get every available skill in the game before every single story mission. Skills in this game are classified as the noteworthy attacks you see in Dragon Ball. Some examples include the Kamehameha, the Final Flash, the Special Beam Cannon, and even the incredibly famous and widely beloved skill, the Dancing Para Para. I can obtain these skills in a variety of ways. I can purchase them from the store using Zenny or TP medals, I can obtain them from mentors after completing their training, I can gather the Dragon Balls and summon Shenron, or the most common way, by completing parallel quests. Parallel quests, or PQs for short, are side missions you can complete in this game that often yield skills. Parallel quests in this game are quite linear. You go to Area A, beat up some enemies, go to Area B, beat up some more enemies, and then you beat the mission. If I complete an additional mission objective, I have the opportunity to unlock the ultimate finish for the mission, which allows me to get access to exclusive skills. The additional mission objectives for the ultimate finish range from beat the mission in under 10 minutes to keep your allies alive. Pretty simple stuff. Upon completing these missions, you have a chance of getting 1 or 2 skills based on RNG, so this is where I'll be spending the majority of my time throughout this challenge. The main difficulty problem with these PQs are going to be the DLC missions. All of these DLC missions are balanced around the post-game of Xenoverse 2. These missions feature gods, demons, incredibly flamboyant hairstyles, and a lot of enemies that will kill me in the blink of an eye. When we start the game, we have access to all of these DLC missions, which means I have to complete 184 missions in order to progress the story. This is the equivalent of Goku getting sent to the Tournament of Power as a child with only Grandpa Gohan's training. I am in for a world of hurt. So without further ado, let's begin the challenge. We kick things off in the Xenoverse story by stalking Vegeta for some reason, and then I go on my first time patrol where I realize that the default female Saiyan character in this game looks incredibly stupid. During a quick scuffle with Raditz, we can take a look at the skills we start off with in the game. These skills consist of the consecutive energy blast, the energy shot, the energy charge, the Kamehameha, the super back jump, and of course, the dreaded full power energy blast volley skill. The full power energy blast volley actually got a huge glow up in this game. In the first game, you can barely hit anything with it, and you're just left vulnerable to be attacked while you're using it. In this game, you can use it as a combo finisher because the projectiles will actually track your opponents. It's still not the best skill in the game, but at least it's usable this time around. Once Goku dies, I'm able to meet the hero from the previous Xenoverse game. The hero from the previous Xenoverse game is actually determined based on our save file from Xenoverse 1. We can import any character we have from the first Xenoverse game, so I choose my character from the previous challenge. Importing a character from Xenoverse 1 actually comes with some perks. These perks include the clothing set that they were wearing, some amount of money, and the skills that were on the character at the time of importing. I could use this to import skills that are really tough to get in Xenoverse 2, but I figured 2 things. 1, I would personally consider it cheating since I'm importing skills from one game to another, and 2, I'm going into this game almost completely blind, so I don't know what skills are actually hard to get in this game. So after a bit of research, I find out that if you import your character with specific moves, you'll just get TP medals instead of the actual moves. These TP medals are a very important part of the game, but I'll get to them later. Importing the Xenoverse 1 character also gives me a ton of Zenny that lets me buy the skills Sonic Kick, Sledgehammer, Energy Wave Combo, Super Guard, Backflip, After Image, Spirit Boost, Giga Boost, and the Turn Retreat skills from the skill shop. After the tutorial PQ, I am able to start the first actual parallel quest. A deal! The Saiyan Brothers PQ pits me against Raditz, Goku, Piccolo, and Gohan, who have all made a deal to take me down. This PQ unlocks the Spirit Slash skill on my first try. A lot of the PQs in this game just consist of fighting a handful of enemies over and over again until I get the drops that I'm looking for, so I'll only really mention the specifics of gameplay if something interesting happens. The next PQ is an old classic. The World Tag Team Tourney is the PQ I spent the most time on in the first Xenoverse challenge due to the friendship grind for the mentors. At first, I was surprised that the Saiyan Brothers PQ was the first PQ in the game, but then I realized that they probably wanted to show off the new content before they retread the old, which is a decision that I greatly appreciate. Anywho, I get the Solar Flare technique after a few runs and move on to the next PQ. Prepare for the Attack of the Saiyans gives me the Paralyze Beam skill, but not before getting my face caved in by some time patrollers in training. In the first game, these guys were pushovers that would die in a few hits, but not in this game. I already knew that this challenge would be harder, but this really puts into perspective just how much more difficult this challenge is going to be than the first one. See, the gimmick with these Time Patroller fellas is that they actually are custom characters that other people like you and I are playing with. At first this might not seem bad, but then you realize that this means that I'm potentially fighting characters that are level 180 and can two-shot me depending on their moveset. If I do manage to defeat them, however, they drop a variety of useful items. They can drop Hercule badges, which is a good source of money, equipment that's specific to the mission, or the most important drop, the Dragon Balls. As I said during the intro, Dragon Balls can be used to obtain skills, so I'll definitely have to be on the lookout for them as we continue the challenge. More on that later though. The next PQ available is the Saiyan Blood PQ. The thing with this PQ is that I already have the Kamehameha because of the fighting style I selected when I created my character. I technically don't have to do this PQ, but I choose to do it anyways just for funsies. With that, all of the PQs are finished and I'm ready to continue on to the next story mission. At least, that's what I would say if it wasn't for the several years of DLC I have to get through before I can continue the main story. There are so many DLC missions this time around, like around 8 times the amount of the first game, and considering that the first game's missions took me several hours to complete, I'll be lucky if I can get these done within the week. It won't be all that bad though. I actually have a few strategies that I can use to make the process slightly easier. The first strategy is something I discovered during the first Xenoverse challenge I did. Instead of actually trying to beat the DLC quests where the enemies are literally max level with my noodle arms, I just let them kill me over and over and over and over and over and over again because dying to the DLC missions will give me more XP than beating the base game missions. So, after a little while of repeatedly getting punched in the face by Gohan and Piccolo, I get to level 24 and venture out to find the first mentor of the game, Piccolo. Piccolo gives me the Evil Explosion skill, and that's it. If you watched the first video, you would know that I basically had to complete every mentor the moment they were unlocked before I could progress, which cost me a lot of time. While I still have to complete all the mentors before progressing, Xenoverse 2 changed how the mentor mechanics work. See, in order for me to unlock every skill a mentor has to offer, I first have to increase my training level, and the only way to increase my training level is to simply increase your level and play the game more and beat the advancement tests, which I currently do not have access to. For the moment, however, I am stuck at the first training level. Piccolo sends me on my way to the next mentor, Yamcha, who gives me the Fake Death and the Wolf Fang Fist skills. I can't progress with Yamcha yet, so I go and find Hit, who tells me to fuck off. The next bald guy I find is a lot nicer than Hit. Tien teaches me the Dodon Ray and Volleyball Fist skills. Up to bat next is Krillin, who teaches me the Rise to Action, Orin combo, and Destructo Disc skills. After a quick fight with this person, they actually give me the 4-star Dragon Ball. I don't know why they would be willing to part ways with such a priceless artifact, but I'll take it. I then take the Beginner Advancement class, which unlocks more mentor classes. I made Krillin my mentor, and he teaches me the Scatter Kamehameha, the first ultimate skill I've obtained. This move is kind of awkward, so I don't really use it. Going back to Tien, and he teaches me the Tri-Beam skill, which also helps me to unlock another advancement test. This honestly seems like a pretty clunky place to get access to the next advancement test, but whatever. Doing this lets me unlock the Neo Tri-Beam skill, which finishes Tien's mentorship for the time being. I then go back to Piccolo and get the Super Explosive Wave, Light Grenade, and the Special Beam Cannon skills, which finishes his mentorship for now. Finally, I go back to Yamcha and obtain the Ki Blast Thrust and Spirit Ball skills, which completes his mentorship for now. He also says all white after you obtain the Ki Blast Thrust skill, which disgusts me. That's pretty much all I can do with the mentors right now, so I start trying to crack those DLC PQs. While I throw myself into the XP grinder, also known as the Greatest Training Ever PQ, I gotta say, this game is absolutely gorgeous and is a phenomenal looking upgrade to Xenoverse 1. I love the shading and the colors used to create such vibrant visuals, and I'm really impressed with how this game looks. Back to the game, and I can finally say that I've completed one of the mentors. You see, the mentors don't give you 4 skills like they do in Xenoverse 1. In this game, they give you 5. 4 normal skills and 1 skill that can only be obtained through friendship. Friendship in this game is a lot more manageable than in the first simply because it just doesn't take as long to fill up that stupid gauge. Just like in the first Xenoverse game, the gauge is filled up by going on missions with your mentor assisting in said mission. Unlike in Xenoverse 1, you can also raise the gauge by simply talking to them before every mission or by wearing equipment that they care about. So, after a while of dying to Beast Gohan and talking to Krillin, he gives me the Dual Chain Destructo Disc Barrage skill, finishing his mentorship. I decided to grind friendship and XP at the same time using the PQ, the Greatest Training Ever. This PQ gives me 9,000 XP every time I die, so I just sit back, relax, and get punched in the face over and over again. One eternity later, using this method, I was able to grow to both level 47 and even managed to max out my Ki Blast Super attribute. I also obtained the skills Dual Neo Tri-Beam, Dual Spirit Ball, and the Dual Special Beam Cannon from the various mentors I have mentioned so far. These skills are all pretty awkward to use as they require another character with the same skills to use. This means that you have to time using the skill around someone else getting to your location on time in order to use the skills, and even then, there's no guarantee you'll hit it at all. Since they need to have the skill that you want to use, you are very limited in who you can bring along with you in the first place. Normally, this wouldn't be a problem, but since I'll be doing very difficult missions, I have to bring specific CPU allies with me to give me a chance of success. I'll be bringing Zamasu along for the majority of the DLC quest grind, entirely because he has a Z-Soul that auto-revives him. This is great because when they inevitably get KO'd by the enemy, I just have to survive long enough for them to revive themselves. This allows me to survive a lot longer and improves my success rate significantly. With that explained, I begin the very annoying and very long DLC PQ grind. I started off by doing the Vados' Talent Scout mission, which I actually managed to beat on my first try and even get the ultimate finish on it to boot. I still have to do a few more runs to get the Destruction's Concerto Comet skill though. Once I got that skill, I was able to do another advancement test. The advancement test advanced class actually gave me the full power energy charge skill, which is a faster version of the regular energy charge. An excellent upgrade that I immediately equip. Up until now, I've been using the energy charge skill, which is one of the slowest ways to gain ki in this game. Having ki is very important in this game because it allows you to use all of those skills that I care so much about. Being able to charge it slightly faster with the full power charge skill is really nice and greatly appreciated. After a few more runs of the Vados' Talent Scout PQ, I get the Destruction Concerto Starfall skill, completing our first DLC PQ. I hopped around missions for a little bit until I settled on the Extreme Battle with Android 13 PQ. While grinding this PQ, I managed to max out my health attribute and get the skills SS Deadly Bomber and Handy Cannon, completing the PQ. I used the Deadly Bomber skill to replace the full-powered Energy Volley skill. Deadly Bomber is a skill that requires 4 bars of ki to use, but it has tracking and does a ton of damage. The only issue is that it's super easy to block and my ally CPUs tend to knock the enemy out of the attack. Still, an upgrade is an upgrade. Next up is A Destructive Showdown PQ, where I get the skills Destruction's Concerto, Meteor, Requiem of Destruction, and Destruction's Conductor. Side note, the Requiem of Destruction skill is either really bad or I am really bad at using it. I don't think I've hit this attack once in the several hours I've been using this. Next up, I was able to take and pass the Advancement Test Kai class, which netted me the Super Front Jump. The next PQ I set my eyes on was the Heretics from a Dark World, which unlocked me the Divinity Unleashed skill. This skill is actually a charge skill that buffs your ki recovery when you attack if you charge for long enough, so I'll be using this in replacement for the full power charge. Next, I started shopping around and doing any PQ that I thought was possible to get the ultimate finish at my level. The only issue is I am now max level. In this game, the max level is apparently level 80 until you unlock the level cap increase that I don't have access to right now. This means that the only things I can do right now to increase my stats is to find equipment that boosts the stats I want and find better skills. With that in mind, I purchased the Big Bang Attack and the Emperor's Death Beam skills from the TP Metal Shop because I am sorely lacking on reliable tools. The Big Bang Attack kinda sucks, but the Emperor's Death Beam is what I've been sorely needing in terms of firepower. I melt health bars now thanks to this move, and the only real caveat is that I have to constantly charge my ki. I'm glad to see this skill back in action because this skill was my savior in the first Xenoverse challenge I did. This skill actually allows me to get the ultimate finish on the A Fateful Fight with a Deity PQ to get the Super Black Kamehameha Rosé skill. This is another ultimate attack that I'll be regularly using. While it's not as strong damage-wise as the Emperor's Death Beam, it doesn't use all my ki every time I use it, and it still does pretty decent damage. Next, I did the Advancement Test God class, which unlocks the Maximum Charge skill. I replaced the Divinity Unleashed skill because this charges my ki a little bit faster, and since I have now proven my strength in school, I unlocked my next mentor, Hit. Hit gives me the skills Time Skip, Flash Skewer, Time Skip Backbreaker, Time Skip Jump Spike, Time Skip Tremor Pulse, and finally, the dual Time Skip Molotov. After that, I got the skills Holy Wrath and Lightning of Absolution from the Zero Mortal Plan PQ. Next, I get the Blades of Judgment and the Divine Wrath Purification from the Advent of the Mighty God Zamasu PQ. Pivoting to the Birth of the Majin PQ gives me the skills Super Boo, Ghost Kamikaze Attack, and the Candy Beam skills. It's at this point I decided to take a detour from grinding the PQs and start gathering the Dragon Balls. I touched on this earlier, but gathering Dragon Balls in this game is significantly harder than in the first game. This is because there are now 3 Time Patrollers that are all typically over level 100 that I have to fight to get the Dragon Balls in the first place. Every time I defeat one of the Time Patrollers, I have 2 chances to obtain a Dragon Ball. They also no longer randomly spawn, which is nice. They are guaranteed to spawn each run, which is an amazing change from Xenoverse 1. Grinding the Dragon Balls is still really frustrating since the AI in this game is a lot better than in Xenoverse 1, which means that the enemy CPU are harder to kill, which also makes every quest take significantly longer. Not to mention, I can't just mindlessly spam my ultimate attack like in the first game. Of course, just because it's less incentivized to do so doesn't mean I'm going to stop. And if I'm being honest, I've been gathering the Dragon Balls between PQs just to break up the monotony. But I figured it'd be better for the viewing experience if I told you all the exploits I got from the Dragon Ball farming all at once. I used to prepare for the Attack of the Saiyans PQ to farm these Dragon Balls, and after a lot of strife and disappointment, I managed to gather all 7 Dragon Balls. Summoning Shenron gives me a variety of choices. I settle on wishing for skills first, and I unlock the skills Flash Fist Crush, Ice Claw, Ice Field, Burst Attack, Burst Reflection, Time Skip Molotov, Ice Cannon, and Burning Spin after a few wishes. I'm not done with the dragon yet. A few more wishes lets me unlock Hit, Nuova Shenron, Ice Shenron, and Omega Shenron to round out my character roster. Side note, I actually unlocked Hit before this. See, normally the only way to unlock Hit is via the Dragon Balls, but there is one other way. You see, the mentor system actually gives you the ability to customize any mentor in the game once any given mentor becomes your mentor. Since I completed Hit's mentorship a while back, I was able to unlock his partner moveset, which gives me access to Hit before I was able to unlock him via the Dragon Balls. It doesn't change the challenge at all, but I did find it pretty funny. After summoning Shenron again, I select an option I've never seen before. I select Become a Super Saiyan God. In order to actually unlock the skill, I need to befriend 5 Saiyan mentors and talk to Beerus. If you've been paying attention so far, none of the mentors I have mentioned so far are Saiyan, which means that this was a wasted wish. Awesome. This won't be the last time we see of Shenron for this segment. I'll still have to farm him up for TP medals later on, but I'll grind Dragon Balls later because I remember that Bojack existed. Before I can even begin his training missions, I have to spend an absurd amount of TP medals on pieces of clothing to get him to even speak to me. Once I gain the clothes, he teaches me the reverse launcher skill. This is a skill that has you shoot an energy blast at the opponent and quickly teleport behind them to blast them again. I like this skill a lot and use it throughout the majority of the challenge. There's something just so satisfying about hitting an enemy and then teleporting behind that enemy to hit them again. Back to Bojack, and he tasks me with fighting every warrior in Kanton City that wants to scrap. In order to fight everyone that wants to throw hands, I first need to be able to progress further in the story. Since I cannot progress further in the story, I am now officially done with all the mentors in this section. I technically have access to Zamasu as a mentor, but I literally cannot reach him since he is currently on a mountain and I am currently not. As a result, I move on to redo all the advancement classes to get a Z rank on all of them because doing that actually unlocks the Potential Unleashed Awoken skill. This is my first Awoken skill and it allows me to regain Ki faster, and considering that my main strategy in this game is to get Ki as fast as possible and spam my ultimate, this is pretty big for me. The only downside to this is that it's not overpowered, so it's not that big of an upgrade. Still, small progress is still progress. With that in mind, I have to go and blitz through some PQs. The Champa's Hellish Holiday PQ gives me the skills Sonic Bomb, God of Destruction's Roar, and the God of Destruction's Menace. The Majin Revival Plan PQ gives me the Evil Blast and Petrifying Spit skills. Next up, I get the Hero's Flute and Brave Sword Slash skills from the A Hero's Duty PQ. This PQ took me many attempts before I got the skills I needed, which really gave me time to think about why Taipon is even in the game. Hyrudigarn isn't, so why is Taipon? You literally cannot have one without the other, so it's just kinda weird. Mini rant aside, I then went out of my way to get the Ray Blast and Blaster Ball skills from the Proofs in the Patora PQ. Shortly after, I got the Gigantic Breaker skill from the Catch Kefla If You Can PQ on my first try. Next up, I got the Spirit Blaster and Punisher Shield from the Frieza Force on the Hunt PQ. Next, I get the Revenge Final Flash from the Downfall of the Ultimate Saiyan PQ. I haven't really touched on this yet, but I cannot stress how much time these PQs are taking up. On average, I'm getting a skill every 30 minutes to an hour. Most of these missions take me 10 minutes a run, so if I get blue balled by RNG, I'm just in for a very long and tedious grind. I've cut out the majority of the grind for the sake of the video, but I would like you to know that for every sentence of dialogue in the script, an hour of my time was spent making it happen. Segueing back into the PQs, the Ultimate Legendary Super Saiyan PQ is awful. It's an escort mission where I have to escort Z Brawly through a few battles and prevent Brawly from taking too much damage. The only issue is that every enemy I come across does a lot of damage, and I am both underleveled and heavily restricted in what I can and cannot do. I have to get really lucky and hope that the enemy CPU doesn't attack him. This mission contains 3 fights, one with Beerus, Trunks, and Goten, one with Cabba and Kefla, and one with Super Broly, Goku, and Vegeta. Realistically, the first 2 fights are just there for padding. The final fight is what matters. You see, if Super Broly uses his Gigantic Roar ultimate at any point and hits Z Broly, you're done. You lose. It's good night, Irene! You have to restart the mission and do all 3 fights again, which sucks. If you get the ultimate finish requirement, you then get to go and fight Gogeta and Super Broly once more. This means you have yet another opportunity to get rocked by Super Broly using Gigantic Roar, because it does even more damage now at the stage of the mission where your health is at the lowest. Since I don't have any good healing options, or health for that matter, it's clear to see why this mission can suck. I've equipped the Candy Beam skill just so I have the ability to incapacitate my opponents for a short time by turning them into candy. I've also just spent the entire PQ attacking whomever is attacking Broly just to keep them occupied for as much as possible. Using these strategies eventually unlocks me the Gigantic Roar and the God Punisher skills. The Gigantic Roar ultimate skill is a huge power boost and an amazing replacement to the Super Black Kamehameha Rose that has fallen off since the initial honeymoon phase I was having with it. Gigantic Roar is a great move that covers the weaknesses that the Emperor's Death Beam has. Gigantic Roar is a huge hitbox that is relatively fast and does a huge amount of damage. It also does all of its damage in one hit, which means I don't have to worry that my opponent will use an evasive skill to get out of the attack, which is often the case with the Emperor's Death Beam. If I need to scatter a bunch of enemies or do quick damage, then Gigantic Roar is my go-to. If I am facing one enemy with a lot of health, then the Emperor's Death Beam is my main choice. This power boost also allows me to complete a PQ that I wasn't sure was possible at this stage of the game. Throughout this challenge, I have taken a couple of swings at the Universe 7's Next God of Destruction PQ. I've been able to beat it regularly, but the ultimate finish is really difficult. To my knowledge, it's the only ultimate finish that requires you to clear the PQ in specifically less than 6.5 minutes. It's a really awkward amount of time, and until now I didn't have the firepower to actually complete it. But thanks to the power of my new and shiny Gigantic Roar skill, I was able to complete the ultimate finish and obtain both the burst charge and the final charge ability in the game. Ladies and gentlemen, I have unlocked the ultimate charge skill. This is the fastest charging key skill in the game, and you gotta admit, it's kinda funny how in Xenoverse 1 I was stuck with the first energy charge skill until the Cell games, whereas in this game I have the best charge skill before I've even fought Nappa. Burst charge is also pretty useful as it allows me to recharge 2 key bars really fast, so if I'm in the middle of a combo and need a little bit more key, I can just do that and voila! To top off this amazing haul, I also got the power! A lot of power! It's great! Z-Soul. Z-Souls are equipment in this game that give you special abilities. These abilities range from doing more damage with specific moves to health recovery to even just auto-regaining ki. Up until now, I've been using the I love being immortal Z-Soul from Zamasu, which just auto-revives me after a short period of time if I die. This was good for a long time as I would die pretty frequently and couldn't really rely on the AI to stay alive long enough to revive me. As I progress through the DLC missions, I'm taking on bigger and bigger challenges. It's basically at the point where any death I have tends to result in a mission failure. With that in mind, it's clear to see why an auto-revive isn't exactly that good anymore. It's still useful in some cases, and I'll be swapping back when needed, but for the time being, I'll be sticking with my shiny new toy. The new Z-Soul Power! A lot of power! It's great! Has a relatively simple effect. It gives me more ki and stamina. Like, a lot more ki and stamina. This lets me spam my ultimates more since I don't have to spend as much time charging my ki every time I use an ultimate. Keeping up with the notable PQs, the A Dance of Swords PQ gave me a lot of trouble for a really long time. This PQ is you fighting against every sword user in the game, which wouldn't be bad if not for the ultimate finish. The ultimate finish requirement is that you have to clear the PQ in less than 10 minutes, which is pretty standard and not very difficult. The difficult part is the final fight of the PQ against Taepon and Super Trunks. These guys do a lot of damage and are pretty beefy, so it's pretty hard to beat. I wasn't even able to get the ultimate finish until I got the Gigantic Roar skill because I would either die really quickly or just run out of time. Regardless, I eventually get both the Evil Flame and Brave Sword attack in the same run, completing a surprisingly difficult PQ. Another PQ that has given me a lot of trouble is actually the very first DLC quest in the game. The Seeking Fighters for Tournament PQ is a real pain for a couple of reasons. Reason numero uno, Spanish, is that it's an escort mission where you have to escort both Goku and Vegeta around while they try to find people to participate in the tournament against Universe 6. You would think that this wouldn't be very bad until you realize that the ultimate finish requirement is that both Goku and Vegeta have to be over 50% health when you finish. Again, you would think that wouldn't be that bad, but I don't have the ability to consistently heal the team outside of my Limit Break special effect, which allows for team-wide regen. Again, that's not so bad. The straw that breaks the camel's back is that despite being level 50, these enemies are some of the tankiest in the game. A full 12 bar Emperor's Death Beam Ki Blast attack doesn't even take out a single Majin Buu health bar. It's just really silly how much health these enemies have. I can't even take out Krillin spamming ultimates without having to recharge my ki a few times. All of that combined is the reason I've waited so long before I've tried to get the singular skill available, and after a few runs and a lot of headache, I did manage to get the skill Breaker Energy Wave. At this point in the run, I have completed about 26 of these DLC PQs and played the game for around 60 hours. Any upgrades I make at this point are marginal at best, so all I can really do is throw myself against a brick wall and grind out some more PQs, hoping I get lucky. The next PQ up to bat is Whis' Special Training. A few runs of this nets me the Power Impact skill, and I move on to the next PQ, Planetary Possession, which gives me the skills Reverse Shot and Variant Drive. I then decided to take a crack at what I believe to be the hardest PQ in the game, the greatest training ever. All of the enemies in this mission are level 130, so I thought this was going to be a real pain in the neck. The only reason I did this was just to see how far I've come since the beginning of the challenge, and was actually able to beat it on the first try and get both the Super Kamehameha, Super Saiyan 4 Daima, and the Final Flash, Super Saiyan 3 Daima skills. This is a great stroke of luck because I really don't think I can do this PQ faster than 10 minutes consistently, so this could have easily become a huge grind. Continuing on with the really late game PQs, I did the Invincible Duo PQ and again got really lucky with getting the Chaotic Time Impact skill on my first attempt. Next up is the I Need a Hero! Pose! PQ. This PQ is awesome because my computer decided to reset for a Windows update without warning me in the middle of me playing the mission, which corrupted about an hour or two worth of footage. So, when you see the move actually being used instead of just a skill obtained screen, that's why. Up until this point, I've only really shown you what skills I obtained from what PQ. In reality, I'll hop around PQs when one is getting stale and making it appear as if I'm obtaining all the skills right after each other. I also won't record the majority of attempts I do to save as much storage space as possible on my PC. So, with both of those reasons in mind, I think it's pretty clear why losing the footage due to a Windows update forcing its way into my life is so frustrating. Thanks, Microsoft. In spite of all that, I was able to get the skills Heroic Counter, Gamma Blaster, and Gamma Impact, completing the PQ. Shaking off that burn, I decided to do the Beat Bulma's Minions PQ, which gives me the skills Super Gamma Blast and Core Breaker. The Scream Team versus the Dream Team PQ gives me the Apocalyptic Burst skill. Escape from West City gives me the Pendulum Bullet skill. I get the skills Full Power Destruction, Dragon Spark, and Soaring Rush from the Warp Sense of Justice PQ. Hyper Special Training gives me the skill Final Rampage. Decoding Dinner gives me the skill Divine Ray Bomb. The Battle of Resolve, I guess it's a full colon, versus Goku Black is honestly a pretty cool quest story-wise. I've never played the DLC that adds this quest, and I really don't have any knowledge about the crystals that are central to the story. From what I can tell, the crystals heighten a desire that specific characters have. In Vegeta's case, it's his desire to defeat Goku. The only issue here is that Goku Black shows up to fight instead of Goku, and the quest then becomes about trying to defeat all sorts of underhanded tricks used by Goku Black, while trying not to let the influence of the crystal overtake Vegeta. Obviously, this is Xenoverse, so the gameplay is just me spamming my ultimate, but I still appreciate the effort nonetheless. A few runs of this PQ gives me the Force Edge and the Burning Blast skills. Next up, I get the Big Bang Knuckle and the Wild Stinger skills from the Little Big Brother PQ. I do the Otherworld Challenger PQ, which gives me the Destructive Fracture and Destructive Flare skills. The Clash of the Clones PQ gives me the Comet Strike and Meteor Explosion skills. I then get the Justice Kick and Justice Blade from the Dispo's Wanted Man PQ. Anniversary Antics is next up, and I obtain the Variable Snipe Shot and Steel Mirage skills in a couple of runs. I do a few runs of the Fight of the Fusion, Vegito vs Gogeta PQ, to get the Assault Vanish skill. The Battle for Earth PQ gives me the Flash Chaser and the Crush Cannon skills. I then get the Double Crush and the Crush Shroom skills from the Caulifla's Saiyan Search PQ. Next up is the Fighting for Family PQ. Playing this PQ just made me wonder, why is Videl from Dragon Ball Super in this game? What fight did she have that warrants her inclusion in this game over, I don't know, Dr. Giro, Android 19, Super Android 13, Semi-Perfect Cell, any of the movie villains that didn't make it, or even Demon King Piccolo? I would have vastly preferred all of these characters over Super Videl, but to this game's credit, every time the game utilizes her, it's always a good time. I just don't understand why they picked her over some of the other characters I mentioned. This PQ gave me the Seagull combination and Burning Swan skills. Hunting down Dr. Hato gives me the Heroic Assault and Shooting Strike skills. War and Pieces gives me the Total Detonation Ball and the Photon Swipe skills. Next up is a PQ I spent way too much time on. The Multiverse Match of the Century was a gigantic pain in the neck. It's a collection of battles where you fight various alternate reality versions of characters. You fight Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta in the sky, Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Kefla in space, and Baby and Super Saiyan Blue Goku on planet Tuffle. Best all of them in 8 minutes and you unlock the ultimate finish where you have to fight Vegito Blue, Gogeta, Kefla, and Baby all at the same time. This doesn't sound hard, but the enemy AI in this game is actually a lot more developed than in Xenoverse 1. If all of your allies are dead, then the enemy CPU will wait their turn to 1v1 you. But even if one ally is alive, all of them will jump you at the same time. This caused a lot of resets in a grind that already took me several hours, but I'm glad it's over. The Multiverse Match of the Century PQ gave me the skills Gigantic Burst and Revenge Death Ball. Next up, I got the Dragon Blitz and Brutal Buster skills from the Oobs Ultimate Challenge PQ. Frieza's Fervent Wish gave me the Dark Inscription skill. Fighting with Finesse gives me the Crimson Edge and Divine Spear skills. The Man, the Myth, the Yamcha gave me the Special Beam Cannon, parentheses, Beast skill. Side note, I couldn't figure out how to spell parentheses, so I tried to use the voice talk feature on my phone, and all it did was spawn in the punctuation icon. I hate technology. The PQ, Even Further Beyond, gives me the skills Ultrasonic Blitz, Spirit Pulse, and Celestial Wave. The Who's the Next Leader PQ gives me the skills God of Destruction's Plaything and God of Destruction's Poise. The Where Is Goku PQ gives me the Gigantic Explosion skill. The Videl Superman PQ gives me the Justice Drive skill. Broly the Invader gives me the Gigantic Cluster and Eraser Bomb skills. In the PQ Seeing Double, there is a typo where they spell the word really with only one L. Awful game. This PQ nets me the Wild Buster, Shield Barrier, and Counter Impact skills. I then get the Emperor's Cannon from the Brawly vs. Brawly PQ. The 24/7 Time Patrol gives me the Heat Wave and Supreme Fury skills. I then do the Tournament of Power Round 2 PQ to get the Ribrianne's Eternal Love and the Prominence Flash skills. The Tireless Pursuit of Strength PQ gives me the Burst Blitz skill. Havoc at the Universe 3 Feast nets me the skill God of Destruction's Might. The Spirit Bomb Away gives me the Savory Slicer skill. Time-Space Tussle gives me the Lightning Impact and Excellent Full Course skills. The Otherworld Offensive PQ gives me the Hyper Tornado and Burning Shot skills. The Pan and Peril PQ gives me the skills Demon Ray, Demon Flash Strike, and Demon Flurry skills. In the PQ Lights, Camera, Superhero, I get the skills Fierce Fist and Demonic Destruction. I also got the Sign of Awakening and Circle Flash skills from the Deborah, the Loyal Servant PQ. The Finding Out About Fusion PQ gives me the skills Blaster Cannon, Blaster Bomb, and Blaster Stream. The legendary Super Saiyan Showdown PQ gives me the Powered Shell and Gigantic Charge skills. For the Ribrianne Defender of Love and Justice PQ, I got the Lovely Cyclone skill. For the A Ranger's Duty PQ, I got the Rough Ranger skill. For the Battle of the Mind PQ, I got the skills Impact Flare and Power Wall. In the legendary Starving Super Saiyan PQ, I got the Gigantic Rage skill. And with that, I only have 10 skills left that I can obtain from the PQs. Ribrianne's Beauty Lesson gives me the Pretty Cannon and Formation skills. The Formation skill is really funny. You do 3 different poses that each give you better and better buffs the more poses you do. The only reason I'm mentioning it is because it looks really silly and it makes me happy. The Breaking Down the Barrier PQ gives me the skills Burst Stinger, Raid Blast, and Blazing Attack. Side note, as I'm pretty sure I won't be able to talk about this again for the rest of the video, whenever I see Ultra Instinct Goku appear on my screen, I just run away and let my AI team handle it. You see, any normal attack you try to hit him with, well, misses. True to form, Ultra Instinct Goku dodges every attack you throw at him, except for Ki Blasts. Unless I'm missing anything, the only thing you can actually do against UI Goku is throw Ki Blast at him until he dies. Nightmare. Nightmare, nightmare, nightmare. Truth be told, this isn't actually that bad in the grand scheme of things, but it is pretty annoying to actually have to think about how to play against this character specifically. The nightmare is almost over. At this point, I have already spent 140 hours on this challenge. That is the same amount of time that it took for me to do the exact same challenge for the first game. As of this moment, I only have 2 more PQs that I need to complete. It just so happens that these final 2 PQs are the hardest ones in the game. I put off the Xeno's Earthly Excursion PQ until the end for one reason entirely. I completely forgot it existed. That is the only reason I haven't done this yet. I unintentionally saved one of the hardest PQs to the end simply because I forgot to do it earlier. There are a few reasons this PQ is so difficult. Number 1, the amount of enemies in this level versus the amount of time you have makes this very tedious to obtain the ultimate finish for both unlockable skills. The ultimate finish requirement is that you have to complete the PQ in under 15 minutes. You have a 20-minute time limit, and the game does everything they can to waste your time. When you first begin the PQ, there is over 30 seconds of unskippable dialogue where the Xenos talk about watching you fight. Then, you have to watch 2 different cutscenes play of both Frost and the Frieza Force showing up. Then, you have to deal with the enemies, and there are a lot of enemies in this PQ. In the first section, you have to deal with Frieza, Frost, and 4 different Frieza Force members that I can't be bothered to name. I can't one-shot any of these enemies due to the amount of health they have, so this section takes about 5 minutes. Next, I have to fight with Vegeta, Kid Trunks, and Cabba, which honestly isn't so bad outside of getting jumped immediately by all 3 of them because Zamasu is a terrible meat shield. After fighting for around 2 minutes, I'm off to the next section where I fight both Brawlies and Kefla, who all immediately lock onto me for only 30 seconds. Both Brawlies have ultimates that will one-shot you if you get hit by them. Super Brawly has the Gigantic Roar skill, which you can't block and I can't guard break for the life of me. Z Brawly has the Gigantic Meteor skill, which normally isn't an issue, but since I'm normally 2v1ing both Kefla and Super Brawly, it becomes a problem quickly if I can't guard break it. If I'm lucky, I can get this done in around 2 minutes and move on to the next and final section of the PQ where I fight Beerus, Champa, Whis, and Vados. All of them have a lot of health, and it's a 4v3, which makes things even more difficult. Like I said earlier, the enemy won't gang up on you if you're alone, but if any of your allies are alive, they'll all jump you. They have the numbers advantage in this PQ, which means I constantly have to fend off enemies. None of this would be a problem, but I had to reset several times during each section because if I took too long in any of the sections, I wouldn't have been able to unlock the ultimate finish requirement. Once I unlock said requirement, I have one final showdown with Jiren and Toppo. This fight on its own isn't bad, but having a really strict time requirement means you have to be really risky in this section, which led to a couple of resets due to running out of time. The enemies also have decent AI in this PQ, so if I had a nickel every time the enemy stamina broke me whenever I used my ultimate attack, I would have $2. That's a rough estimate, but I did end up getting lucky with the skill drops. After more attempts than I would like to admit, I got the Thunder Flash and Destructive Fission skills. With that, we move on to the final DLC PQ of the game. The final battle before the final battle. I firmly believe that this is the hardest PQ in the game. This PQ isn't hard because of the AI being weirdly difficult. It's not difficult because of the ultimate finish requirement. It's difficult specifically because of the ultimate finish win condition. The ultimate finish requirement is quite simple. You have to defeat every enemy in the PQ. This includes all the fighters from the Universe 7 Tournament of Power team aside from Master Roshi, and you have to beat Beerus, Future Trunks, and Zamasu for some reason. That's it. Just defeat every opponent in the PQ to unlock the ultimate finish, which I can normally finish in around 8 minutes. The hard part comes once you see those orange exclamation points appear. Once they're gone, you then have to fight Fuse Zamasu, Vegito Blue, and Beerus once more, all of which have blue health bars. This also isn't the hard part, although it is pretty time consuming. For whatever reason, the devs decided to add another fight right after that one, where you have to fight against Jiren, Fu, and Ultra Instinct Goku, who all have a massive amount of health and take forever to kill. They aren't the problem though. The problem is the timer. I have 15 minutes to complete this PQ. I have 15 minutes to defeat 15 different enemies that are all significantly higher leveled and healthier than I am. I can get through the normal enemies in 8 minutes. The first wave of the ultimate finish in around 4 minutes, which leaves me 3 minutes to defeat Jiren, Fu, and Ultra Instinct Goku. I have to take on 6 full blue health, heavily over-leveled enemies to even get a chance at the final 2 skills in this section of this video. This was a colossal pain in the ass, so I had to come up with some strategies to optimize my time. For starters, I had to use both the burst charge and ultimate charge skills to regain as much ki as possible, as fast as possible. I would use the fast knockdown combo to get enemies off of me so I could quickly regain ki with the burst charge, and when the 2 meat shields and Zamasu actually did their job, I'd regain my ki with the ultimate charge. There isn't really any downtime in this PQ, so I had to do
both and just pray that the enemy wouldn't just get bored with the meat shields and attack me randomly from across the map. Emperor's Death Beam is still my primary damage dealer, as its tracking and high damage output make it a must-have for this mission. Gigantic Roar is still great for hitting multiple enemies, but it's only really useful in this mission when the enemies spawn in, as they aren't active for the first few seconds of them spawning. Reverse Launcher is a great skill for just doing damage and staying out of harm's way due to the teleport feature. I know I haven't covered anything new, but you need to understand that I am utilizing all of these skills to their limit. Even with all of that, I still can't complete the ultimate finish requirement consistently. At the time of writing this, I don't even know if I can complete this PQ normally. Luckily, I don't need the ultimate finish to get the meditation skill. I just need to kill Jiren in the final fight for a chance for it to drop. I'm out of luck for the other skill though. The final skill of the DLC PQs requires me to complete the ultimate finish for a chance for it to drop, and after several attempts and many close calls, I broke. I just couldn't do it anymore. I gave up. I had to get rid of that stupid fucking bowl cut that my character has. Seriously. Why was the default haircut for the default female Saiyan a fucking bowl cut? It could have been literally anything else and it would have looked significantly less stupid. Whatever. Back to the matter at hand, I was not getting anywhere with my current strategy, so I asked online for help. Entered the Xenoverse player known as Shulk. They gave me a lot of helpful tips like Prominence Flash, doing as much damage as Gigantic Roar for 3/5 of the cost, or how to do an infinite combo with the Handy Cannon move. The most important thing he showed me is that I can actually get on top of the mountain that Zamasu is aura farming on. Talking to Zamasu actually unlocks him as a mentor, and he gives me the skills God Splitter, Heavenly Arrow, Instant Severance, and Dual Instant Severance. This is the actual final mentor of this section. Having Zamasu as a mentor also allows me to customize his moveset and attributes to make him a better meat shield from Moi. All of this makes for a lot of improvements that will certainly help me with this PQ. And after what felt like hundreds of attempts, I finally gave up on getting the Power Rush skill. Look, this PQ under the rule set is hard. It's ridiculously hard, and I'm not that good at the game. I've attempted this PQ over 100 times, and not once did I get close enough to even have hope of obtaining the Power Rush skill. I know it's possible. I've seen Shulk do it. I am not good enough at the game to do it. So, I'm throwing in the towel. I'm giving up on beating this challenge legitimately. Instead, I'm just going to continue the challenge and get the skill when I'm capable. If you have an issue with that and think that me doing this invalidates the challenge, then I agree with you. At this point in the run, I have spent over 150 hours on this section. I'm fine with throwing in the towel here if it means that I actually get to continue the challenge. So, with that in mind, there's just one thing left to do before I begin the rest of the challenge. For those of you who have played this game before, you've probably been wondering when I'm going to finish shopping at the TP Metal Shop. The TP Metal Shop is a weekly rotation that allows you to buy premium skills. The issue is that it is a weekly rotation, which means that if I had opted to wait and get every single skill available before progressing, I would still be doing this challenge specifically because of how long I've had to wait to finish getting all of these skills. If I had known both that the TP Metal Shop was a weekly rotating shop and how long it would take for me to grind out the TP metals needed, I never would have even begun this challenge. With that being said, I still attempted to grind it out when I first got to this section. The only way to grind out the TP metals required to actually get all of these skills was either to do the training missions with Krillin and Yamcha, or to gather the Dragon Balls and wish for 200 TP metals. Krillin and Yamcha's missions suck. They take way too long and would only ever give you like 10 TP metals, so clearly my best bet would be grind out the Dragon Balls. And that's what I did. I grinded the Dragon Balls and I got about half the skills on the TP Metal Shop before I realized that it was a weekly rotation. To put into perspective how long this grind took, I was able to watch the entirety of the DBZA creator commentary series. This grind was awful. It would take an hour to 2 hours per set of Dragon Balls depending on RNG, only to get 200 TP metals, which on its own is not good enough to buy the majority of the things in the TP Metal Shop. Towards what I thought was the end of the grind, I got so bored and disinterested that I opted to just bite the bullet and spend my own hard-earned money on the premium currency STP metals, just so I didn't have to grind the Dragon Balls anymore. Again, I did this run blind, so I had absolutely no idea that the TP Metal Shop rotated weekly. This on its own isn't too bad, but the main issue is that for whatever reason, all of the online resources for this game are awful. The best thing I could find about what items are in the weekly rotation is a post on Reddit and a post on GameFAQs. Neither of these posts have any of the dual ultimate skills on them, so I don't even know if I got all the skills in this section, because I really didn't feel like waiting another week to see if I have to grind more Dragon Balls. It's insane to me that Xenoverse 2 is 10 years old at this point, significantly more popular than Xenoverse 1, and still has significantly worse online resources in comparison to Xenoverse 1. From here on out, if anything new shows up in the TP Metal Shop, I'll purchase it and bring it up at the end of the video where I bring up all the other TP Metal Shop skills. The reason for this is because the final skills in the game that I had to get, spoiler alert, were skills from the TP Metal Shop thanks to that weekly rotation. So there you have it. I gave up twice in this section. I gave up on getting the Power Rush skill, and I gave up on obtaining every TP Metal Shop skill. And you know what? I don't regret it. Look, the script is 20 pages long already. This section took me more time than the entirety of the first Xenoverse challenge, and that doesn't even include the time spent on grinding the Dragon Balls. I made 36 wishes to Shenron. I spent $10 on STP medals to avoid having to summon Shenron anymore. I played for a total of 190 hours to obtain 190 skills. This sucked, but at least I am finally ready to take on the second mission of the game. We kick off the rest of the game by beating Nappa, waiting for the dialogue to continue, and then we fight Turles. The gimmick with Xenoverse 2's story is that the movie characters invade the main timeline and get mischievous. Ooh. This gets crazier later, but for now I just have to finish off my duel with Nappa and Vegeta. Since I'm level 80 with DLC armor and skills, I blitz through them pretty easily. I still have to take a timeout due to the PQ, Sabiman's Revenge, becoming available mid-saga. After a singular run of this PQ, I get the Meteor Strike skill and I'm able to progress in the story again. After putting down some disgusting monkeys, I gain access to some new PQs. The Attack of the Saiyans PQ gives me the skill Shine Shot. The Invade Earth PQ is next and we get the Kaioken skill. The Saiyan King is Who PQ gives me the Meteor Blow skill. The Saiyan Survivors PQ gives me the Wall of Defense and the Unrelenting Barrage skills. Finally, the Burst Open and Mix gives me the Earth-Splitting Gallic Gun skill. After that, I'm able to progress in the story where I can look at the various time rifts. These rifts include Hercule's house, Boo's house, the Capsule Corporation, Frieza's spaceship, and Guru's house. Hercule's house gives me easy missions to do, like do 5 parallel quests for money. I can't complete all of them yet since I don't have access to expert missions though, but it's not important at all. At Boo's house, I'm able to feed the big guy an absurd amount of parfaits to summon 5 mini Majin that I can get equipment from. At Frieza's spaceship, I can do some quests that don't really matter. The Capsule Corporation is where I can fight Vegeta a couple of times to get both the Super Saiyan and Super Vegeta skills. Both of these are awoken skills that increase your stats with Super Vegeta being the better of the two for my build because it boosts the power of Ki Blast attacks. The Capsule Corporation also gives me access to QQ Banks, which is a type of equipment that severely increases my stats while also giving me the freedom to dress how I please. The only issue is that the QQ Banks are made by combining 2 pieces of equipment and hoping they're good. In other words, it's almost completely RNG. Finally, there's Guru's house. Guru's house gives you 5 missions where you fend off the Frieza Force trying to steal the Dragon Balls. At the end of mission 6, you have the ability to talk to Guru, who will reward you for protecting his planet. I need to do these missions because Guru is the only way I can raise the level cap, which, alongside the QQ Banks and Super Vegeta transformation, will give me a fighting chance at getting the Power Rush skill. I thought this grind would suck, but it honestly wasn't that bad. All I did was AFK the Saiyan Brothers PQ over and over and over and over and over again to trigger an attack on Guru's house. It's still not great, unfortunately. Every time I do one of these missions, the time between each Guru attack increases as well. The truly messed up part about this is one of Guru's rewards is more wishes you can make to Shenron, like more additional moves. This means that I have to grind out the Dragon Balls yet again, and I am really regretting spending $10 on the previous TP Metal grind. Thankfully, I only have to summon Shenron 2 more times to get the Minus Energy Power Ball, Dragon Flash Bullet, and Whirlwind Blade skills. The next course of action is the level grind. At this point, I thought I was going to have to do another long and tedious grind, so I did some research on the best way to go about this one. For one, the wiki specifically shows this picture of Toph and says that he's behind the mix station. I thought that meant he was over here near this rock. He was actually over here, so now I feel stupid. Toph is an NPC that can raise your level automatically for resources. At this point in the game, the only thing he wants are TP medals, so I'm still stuck grinding the Dragon Balls. Thankfully, I actually found a new way to grind Dragon Balls that takes the 1 to 2 hour RNG Fest grind down to 35 minutes, guaranteed. You see, if you start a new character, then all of your items, skills, and money will transfer over to that character, as well since those resources are linked to the account, not the character. This is important because if you start a new character, mash through all the dialogue and cutscenes, kill Raditz, mash through more dialogue and cutscenes, and go to the Time Patroller Academy, you'll find the NPC named Sanad,
who you can fight to get a bona fide satisfaction guaranteed 100% chance of happening Dragon Ball. Just after you match through all the update notifications it always gives you for some reason. The only reason I found out about this method is because of this comment made by Chainer1216 on Reddit depicting the method I just told you about. In other words, I am really regretting spending that $10 on STP medals now. Anywho, after summoning more TP medals, I am able to level grind all the way up to level 99, which is my new level cap. So now the question of the day is, after all this hard work and training, can I finally obtain the Power Rush skill? Fuck no. I tried it like 8 times and gave up. I ain't good enough at this game to beat this level, so I'm just not going to. I'm throwing in the towel. I officially give up on doing this challenge legitimately. I am relegating that mission to the post-game because again, and I can't say this loud enough, I give up. So instead, I'm going to pivot to something else. Those time rifts I was talking about earlier have an awoken skill associated with each of them, which you can obtain if you have the same race as them. Originally, I wasn't going to include these because normally you cannot obtain these skills on one singular character, but since I used other characters to farm Dragon Balls, I think it's only fair to obtain these skills. I can obtain these skills by grinding up a character of every race to a high enough level to unlock all of the missions until you complete the questline. Once you complete the questline, you get the awoken skill associated with your race. So after a little bit of grinding and a lot of punching Raditz in the face, I get the skills Power Pull Pro, Become Giant, and Purification. I can't get the Become Golden skill yet because Ginyu won't talk to me and let me finish the Frieza questline though. The best reason I have for this is that specifically for a Frieza race character, I need to get farther in the Namek saga before Ginyu will talk to me. Weird as hell, but whatever, I'll get to it later. After that, I am also able to purchase the Super Dragon Fist, Final Blow, Super Mad Dance, Bending Kamehameha, and the Lullaby Punch skills from the skill shop. And with that, we have officially obtained 20 skills in this section for a total of 215 and can now officially begin the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 Namek Saga. This took 220 hours to get here. Dear God, why have I subjected myself to this? We start out the Namek Saga by fighting Zarbon, Dodoria, and Oolong? Oolong shows up after the first mission of the Namek Saga as a crossover promotion for Dragon Ball Breakers. The reason I'm bringing this up? Because I thought there might be a skill unlocked by the mission he gives you, but all I got was screaming and unskippable dialogue. Also, these are the missions where the second form of Cell is introduced, which is pretty neat. Back to the story, and Lord Slug is here. And there goes Lord Slug. Dodoria is here. Dodoria is dead. And after a few more cutscenes, new mentors are now available. Starting things off with Kid Gohan, he gives me the skills Evil Ray Strike, Evil Rise Strike, Masenko, Explosive Assault, and the Dual Explosive Assault. Next up, Raditz gives me the skills Double Sunday, Saturday Crash, Shining Friday, Weekend, and the Dual Weekend Attack. Nappa, our next mentor, gives me the skills Bomber DX, Arm Crash, Genocide Shell, Break Cannon, and the Dual Giant Storm Attack. The last mentor currently available to us is Vegeta, who gives us the skills Gallic Gun, Finish Breaker, Flash Strike, Final Flash, and the Dual Final Flash skill. Now we have some PQs. The Namekian Dragon Ball's PQ gives me the Psycho Escape and Fighting Pose C skills. The Saiyan Pride PQ gives me the Kaioken Kamehameha skill. After getting this skill specifically, my game crashed, which is awesome. I am also able to purchase the Cross-Arm Dive, the ×4 Kaioken Kamehameha, the Super Ki Explosion, the Vacation Delete, and Giant Storm skills from the skill shop. With that, we can now take on the next story mission where we face the Ginyu Force! After they eat the fruit from the Tree of Might, I am then able to take on a new PQ. Gotta find that Dragon Ball. This gives me the skills Holstein Shock, Spinning Blade, and Fighting Pose D. The next PQ, Defeat Frieza's Army, gives me the skills Ginyu Force Special Combo and Fighting Pose B. Back to the main story, and Trunks has equipped his -100 aura Scouter. Trunks got his body swapped with Captain Ginyu in what has to be one of the biggest fraud moments in the entire franchise. But after wrapping that up, I get access to some new PQs. Ginyu and the Fruit gives me the skills Rikuma Racer Gun, Mach Kick, and Fighting Pose J. Next up is the Force Entrance Exam PQ, where I get this Time Control and Mach Dash skills. Next, we have the Fierce Battle, Ginyu Force PQ, which gives me the skills Mach Punch and Fighting Pose E. Taking a brief detour, it's at this point I've progressed far enough in the Namek Saga to finally achieve the Golden Form Awoken skill, which is pretty cool. I have no idea why only this awoken skill is obtained later than the other race-specific skills, but it's whatever. Finally, I am able to buy the Kaioken Assault, Fighting Pose I, Fighting Pose K, Fighting Pose G, and the Super After Image skills from the skill shop. With that, I can now continue on to the next part of the story. Nail's here. Nail's dead. Nail has a PQ called Frieza! Show yourself! That's my Nail impression, by the way. I don't know what he sounds like. This PQ gives me the Mystic Flash skill. Next up is the Tri-Race Coupe PQ, where I get the Evil Flight Strike skill. Back to the story, and we fight Lord Slug, Turles, and Frieza, and we witness one of the most iconic moments in all of anime history. And finally, get a new PQ called the Explosion of Namek, which gives me the Death Slash skill. Back to the main story, and Cooler? Oh, never mind, Cooler's dead. His death unlocks a good amount of content for me, such as the ability of flight. This honestly doesn't change much for me, except make it so I can get to places slightly faster now, which is nice. I am 225 hours into this run, and I can finally fly. I also have a decent amount of new mentors unlocked. Starting things off with Zarbon, I learned the skills Audacious Laugh, Gorgeous Shot, Bloody Counter, Elegant Blaster, and the Dual Elegant Blaster. Dodoria is next, and he teaches me the Dodoria Beam, Critical Upper, Dodoria Headbutt, Dodoria Launcher, and the Dual Dodoria Launcher. Captain Ginyu teaches me the Fighting Pose F, Fighting Pose A, Milky Cannon, Body Change, and the Dual Milky Cannon skills. Lord Frieza is next up to bat to teach me the skills Death Beam, Death Crasher, Death Slicer, Death Ball, and the Dual Supernova skills. The final mentor of this section is Mjolnir. The good Lord teaches me the Faint Crash, Shadow Crusher, Fake Blast, Supernova Cooler, and the Dual Supernova (Cooler). Now we have some PQs to do. The Super Saiyan Legend PQ is significantly better in this game as opposed to the first one. In the first one, you would have to defeat 9 generic enemies, grab Krillin from the spaceship, wait for Frieza to both target and kill him, wait for Goku to show up, wait for the dialogue to finish, hope that the ultimate finish triggers because in that game the ultimate finish is random even if you meet the requirements for the ultimate finish, wait for more dialogue, fight Frieza, wait for Vegeta to show up, fight Frieza again, kill Frieza, and then fight Vegeta. In this game, you still gotta do all of that, but it's not random anymore. Still an annoying process of events, but I eventually get the Double Death Slicer skill. Next up is the Emperor's Brother PQ, which gives me the Spirit Explosion skill. The Clash of Kin PQ gives me the Crazy Finger Shot, and the Metal Cooler Riot gives me the Saucer Blade skills. This PQ taught me that the Big Getty Star allowed Cooler to cheat death because he wouldn't shut the fuck up about it every time he died. Finally, the legendary Super Saiyan PQ got me the Spread Shot Retreat skill. To end off this section, I fight some bald guy next to a staircase and unlock the Ultra Instinct Awoken skill. Wait, what? I don't know why I can do this, but yes, I can unlock Ultra Instinct before the Cell Saga. I can unlock Ultra Instinct before I complete the main story. I can unlock Ultra Instinct before I can even unlock Super Saiyan God or Super Saiyan Blue. That is pretty wacky. Whatever though. After 226 hours of gameplay, I have obtained 81 skills for a total of 296 skills. With that, I have officially completed the Namek Saga, so let us continue on to the Cell Saga. We kick things off not at the Cell games, but instead where Cell and Android 17 first meet. After we prevent Cell from absorbing both androids at the same time, we got some new PQs to do. The android's attack PQ gives me the skills Energy Field and Freedom Kick. I can also purchase the Drain Charge, Super God Shock Flash, Ki Blast Cannon, Freezing Beam, Destructive Ray, Fighting Sun, and the Reverse Mabaku Senko skills from the skill shop. Back to the story, and welcome to the Cell games! Sponsored by Heat-Tap. We actually start by fighting Mira and then swiftly dispatch him to continue the story. We then fight some Cell Jr. until Gohan inevitably snaps into Super Saiyan 2 and then return to the Time Nest to do another PQ. The Let's Train PQ gives me the Super Dragon Flight skill. Next, the Multiple Cell Junior Hunt gives me the Energy Barrier skill, and with that, we can continue to the Cell games that are sponsored by Heat-Tap, where Metal Cooler, who gets his power from the Big Getty Star, which allows him to cheat death, shows up to fight. Jokes aside, this is my favorite usage of the movie villains in this game. I just love the idea of Cooler getting the amazing power of the Big Getty Star, which again allows him to cheat death, and immediately goes to fight a teenager and a weird bug man. Also, Cooler's theme in this game is a straight up banger. It sounds like it's from Hotline Miami, which is the best praise I can give a song like this. Back to the Time Nest, I have a few new PQs to do. The Earth is in danger, PQ, gives me the Death Psycho Bomb, and the Return of the Ginyu Force, PQ, gives me the Crusher Ball and Paralysis skills. After those PQs, we go back to the story and we kill Cell. Before we can continue though, we have some more PQs to do. The Cell Games Begin gives me the Evil Whirlwind skill. The Clash Perfect Cell PQ gives me the Instant Rise skill. The Power Teams PQ gives me the Shining Slash skill. The Android 17 and 18 Official History PQ gives me the Side Bridge skill. The only other thing I have to say about this PQ is, why do they have the Piccolo and 17 fight take place on the Wasteland map and not on the Archipelago map, like it is in both the source material and the story for this game? Seems pretty silly to me. I can also buy the skills Shockwave, Power Pole, Super Drain, Android Kick, and the ×20 Kaioken Kamehameha skills from the shop. With that, we can continue the story. We actually get to see a huge selling point for the Xenoverse 2 story here, the future Gohan arc. If you want to see why, watch this cutscene.
Trunks, you came from the future, didn't you? So Bulma was able to finish her time machine. I'm really proud of you, Trunks.
Thanks!
Right. It's not the time for this. 17 and 18 are attacking the city.
You're right. And this time, Gohan, I'll go with you to fight. This time, I won't hold you back.
What are you saying? You know you're not allowed to do that, Trunks. If you help out Gohan here, you'll change the course of history.
I know, but
Trunks?
Please, you have to stop Trunks.
Trunks, is there something you want to tell me? If you're here, all grown up, then the future is safe, isn't it? And so, this fight has a real purpose. That's enough for me.
No! You can't! Go on!
Trunks, it looks like you've made a good friend. You can't abandon a good friend, can you? It was really good to see you, Trunks.
Go on!
This is my favorite cutscene in the entire game. It's a really well-written emotional scene of Trunks having to choose between his duty and his friendship with Gohan. This is also home to one of the few scenes in this game where the Supreme Kai of Time isn't just annoying, as she sternly reminds Trunks that he has to let history play out, otherwise the consequences will be dire, and as Trunks is weighing letting his friend and mentor go and fight a battle he is destined to die during, Gohan turns to him and says that he's proud of him, and that everything will be okay. A great moment for Gohan as he leaves for the fight and Trunks tries to go after him, only to be blocked by the player character who knows that this has to happen and can't let Trunks mess up history again. It's an amazing scene that provides character moments for every character involved. Even your custom character gets development, who by design doesn't have a character. It's one of my favorite scenes in the entire game, and by far one of my favorites in all of Dragon Ball. With that said, we do have to go back to the challenge and do some new PQs. The Future Warriors PQ gives me the Heat Dome attack skill. The Warriors Annihilation Future Chapters PQ gives me the Burning attack skill. The Artificial Warriors PQ gives me the Rolling Bullet skill. And now I've been blitzing through a lot of PQs, and I'm sure it's obvious, but I feel it's worth mentioning. I am not struggling anymore in these PQs. I haven't been struggling since we got finished with the DLC quests. I get most of these skills in 5 minutes. I am literally speed blitzing through these PQs. So, if you ever have trouble with the base game missions, all you have to do is overlevel significantly at the beginning of the game and you'll be fine. Going back to the story, we fight Android 16 and Cell, which unlocks the PQ, Change the Future! This PQ gives me the Change the Future skill. Hilarious. Next up is the Dragon Balls of the Future PQ, which gives me the Burning Slash and Godbreaker skills. The Take Back the Dragon Balls PQ gives me the Taunt skill. After that, I go back to the story mode and have a brief conversation that introduces me to the Expert missions. Expert missions are like the regular missions in the sense where you beat up an enemy over and over and over and over and over again to get the skills you're looking for. The key difference here is that the Expert mission enemies have unique attacks that force you to play the game a little bit differently. These attacks range from teleporting you to a different area to fight yourself, or to having to rescue your friends from being mind controlled. There are more attacks in the game, but it doesn't really matter. These are a great addition to the game and provide a much needed variety that the rest of the game doesn't provide. Granted, it's still Xenoverse, so the changes to gameplay aren't that big, but it's still something. The first expert mission that gives me a skill is the Assault of the Great Ape expert mission, which gives me the skill Murder Grenade. The Invasion of the Super Evil Namek gives me the skill Super Destructo Disc. The final expert mission for this section is the Galactic Tyrant expert mission, which gives me the Death Wave skill. Next, we have some new mentors. Lord Slug teaches me the Evil Eyes, Darkness I-Beam, Darkness Twin Star, Darkness Rush Melee, Darkness Rush Ranged, and the Dual Darkness Rush skills. The next mentor is Android 18, who teaches me the skills Power Blitz, Endless Shoot, Deadly Dance, Dual Destructo Disc, and the Dual Destructo Disc. Wait, hold on. That's not actually a thing. Okay. She actually gives me the Dual Dead End Rain skill. Perfect Cell is up next, and he gives me the skills All Clear, Gravity Impact, Perfect Shot, Perfect Kamehameha, and the Dual Perfect Kamehameha. Android 16 gives me the I-Beam, Rocket Tackle, Android Rush, Hell Flash, and the Dual Hell Flash skills. Finally, the only PQ I have for this section is the 16 of the official history PQ, which gives me the Chain Destructo Disc Barrage skill. I also purchased the Hyper Drain, Turtle Style Last Resort, Ultra Fighting Bomber, Crusher Volcano, High Tension Turn, and the Break Strike skills from the skill shop. And with that, we have finally officially, superbly finished the Cell Saga and obtained 62 skills for a total of 358 skills in only 240 hours. So don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure I'm on world record pace, guys. So, let's keep on that pace and let's go to the next section. The Boo Saga begins with Brawly there, and also Vegeta dies. After that, we have some new PQs. The Second World Tournament Tag Team PQ gives me the Kamehameha skill. The Namek Berserker PQ gives me the Do or Die skill. The Majin Chaos PQ gives me the Explosive Boo Boo Punch skill. My favorite part about this PQ is that the devs didn't change it from the first game, which means that every time I kill one of the 30 mini-boos in this level, I get the great pleasure of hearing either or hurting. Thanks, guys. Finally, the Great Saiyaman is Here PQ gives me the Burst Rush skill. Back to the story, and I fight Super Boo, Brawly, Janemba, and my will to go on another PQ. The Super Saiyan Bargain Cell gives me the skill Final Cannon. The Fist of Justice PQ gives me the Justice Pose skill. During the grind for the Justice Pose skill, I ordered a pizza and decided to get experimental with it, and put a topping on it I haven't had since I was a kid. Anchovies. I put anchovies on my pizza. What a goddamn mistake that was. Forget about the pineapple on pizza debate. Anchovies on pizza is so much worse than pineapple. Pineapple is at least edible, but anchovies? They made my stomach turn the moment I ate them. Never again. Fuck that. Also, the Majin Revival PQ gives me the Victory Cannon skill. Tag with Gotenks gives me the Super Donut Volley skill. Back to the story mode and we bomb Boo, and doing this unlocks quite a bit of new content. For one, we have some new mentors. Our first new mentor, Hercule Satan, gives us the skills Dynamite Kick, Present for You, Rolling Hercule Punch, The Savior Has Come, and the Dual Savior Has Come skills. Majin Buu is our next mentor, and he gives me the skills Innocence Bullets, Angry Hit, Innocence Cannon, Innocence Breath, and the Dual Angry Explosion skills. Gotenks gives me the skills Super Ghost Kamikaze Attack, Galactic Donuts, Die Missile Barrage, the ultimate version of Super Ghost Kamikaze Attack, and the Dual Super Ghost Kamikaze Attack. Gohan and Videl are next up, and they give me the skills Eagle Kick, Justice Rush, Hawk Charge, Justice Combination, the Dual Justice Combination, and the Dual Super Kamehameha Gohan Edition. Learning Hawk Charge crashes Xenoverse 2, which I'm beginning to realize is not the most stable game out there. Also, maxing out Gohan and Videl's friendship also gives me the ability to go even further beyond with my training with Piccolo. This training allows me to go beast mode, and can I just say that this looks stupid? Do not get me wrong, I am just hating on this. But Beast is my least favorite transformation in the series, second only to Super Saiyan Blue. I don't like it because it's pretty clearly the only way the writers thought to make Gohan relevant again power-wise was to give him a power-up that was never foreshadowed or mentioned ever, and then give it to Gohan because he got angry. They wanted to recreate the iconic Super Saiyan 2 transformation, and while the animation is stunning, I just can't get over the method that they used to introduce it.
Regardless, I now have access to the Beast Transformation skill. The final mentor of this section is Turles, who gives me the skills Sudden Storm, Kill Driver, Fruit of the Tree of Might, Meteor Burst, and the Dual Meteor Burst skills. I also unlock some new expert missions. The expert mission, The Depths of Despair, gives me the Supernova skill. The Big Getty Star Strikes Back expert mission gives me the knowledge that the Big Getty Star allows Cooler to cheat death, and the Death Meteor skill. The Ominous Androids expert mission gives me the Dead End Bullet skill. I can also buy the Go Go Gum, Finish Buster, Thunder Eraser, Time Bullet, Position Shift, Armored Boost, and Punisher Guard skills from the skill shop. PQ-wise, the Hell is a Picture PQ gives me the Raksasha Claw skill. The Majin Banquet PQ gives me the Vanishing Ball skill. The Patora Warrior PQ gives me the Force Shield and Dimension Cannon skills. The Blast of Super Spirit Bomb PQ gives me the Majin Kamehameha skill. And that's it. The Majin Buu saga is complete. I honestly expected it to be a lot longer, but hey, I'll take it. So, in the Majin Buu saga, we obtained 51 skills for a total of 409 skills, and it only took 250 hours. On to the Battle of God saga. We kick off the Beerus saga by ignoring Beerus and fighting both the Masked Saiyan and Mira, and then continue to ignore Beerus because we now have some new PQs to do. The Cell Games Continued PQ gives me the Raccoon Kick and the Fighting Pose H skills. The Frieza's Nightmare Returns PQ gives me the Teleporting Vanishing Ball skill. Once that's obtained, we can go back to the story and we poison Beerus, fight Beerus, and go back to the Time Nest because I have some new quests to go on. The Hercules number 1 PQ gives me the Stone Bullet skill. The Appetite for Destruction gives me the Kai Kai skill. The Beerus the Impulsive PQ gives me the I Rain skill. The New Warriors PQ gives me the Scissors Paper Rock skill. The Stop Beerus' Destruction PQ gives me the Candy Beam skill. The Power of a Super Saiyan God PQ gives me the Super God Fist skill. The Old Rivals and Dragon Balls PQ gives me the Angry Shout skill. The God of Destruction and his Master PQ gives me the Headshot skill. Once those are taken care of, I move on to the mentors in this section. The first mentor is Whis. Whis teaches me the Finishing Blow, Prelude to Destruction, Strike of Revelation, Symphonic Destruction, Dual Symphonic Destruction, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, and Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Evolved skills. I had absolutely no idea he taught me the Super Saiyan Blue skills before post-game, so this is a nice surprise. Super Saiyan Blue Evolved is a much better Super Vegeta. It lets you deal significantly more damage at the cost of your ki constantly draining, but with this power-up, I am finally able to get that stupid Power Rush skill, which means I finally completed every DLC quest in the game. Thank God. Could I have beaten this earlier? Yes. Did I cheat? Yes. Do I regret it? No. Fuck this PQ. Fuck the final battle before the final battle. Literally the hardest PQ in the game for me. Hated it. Nightmare. Awful. Anyways, my next mentor is Beerus, and he fittingly teaches me the God of Destruction's Anger, God of Destruction's Rampage, God of Destruction's Wrath, Spear of Destruction, and the Dual Spear of Destruction skills. I also purchased the Pearl Flash, I Flash, Full Power Energy Wave, Soul Punisher, and Miracle Kneel skills from the skill shop. With that, we can move on to the next part of the story where we fight some goons, fight Golden Frieza, and then witness the return of Cooler because the Big Getty Star allows him to cheat death. Once that's taken care of, the Supreme Kai of Time says that the Time Nest is under attack, so I return to the Time Nest and realize she's a goddamn liar. With that in mind, we go back to the story and watch Frieza blow up the planet. Oh, wait, hold on. It was actually Toa who impersonated the Supreme Kai of Time by saying that the Time Nest was under attack. She actually tricked me. Whatever. I fight Frieza and Cooler, who by the way can cheat death due to the power of the Big Getty Star, and go back to the Time Nest. At the Time Nest, we find a couple of new missions to do. Expert mission-wise, we have the Most Feared Majin Expert mission, which gives me the Assault Rain skill. The Emperor's Worth Expert mission gives me the Hell Zone Grenade skill. The Devil Born from the Dragon Balls Expert mission gives me the Super Electric Strike skill. The Attack of the Lone Super Soldier Expert mission gave me the Angry Explosion skill. And with that, we no longer have any more expert missions to do for this section, which means we now have some PQs. Woohoo! The first training PQ gives me the Burst Kamehameha skill. The Frieza Siege Against Earth PQ gives me the Psychic Move skill. Finally, the Galactic Patrol Away PQ gives me the Final Pose skill. With that, we can now go back to the story, and after a quick fight with Whis, I can do more stuff. For starters, I buy the Double Buster, Split Finger Shot, Gallic Beam Cannon, and Infinity Explosion skills from the skill shop. I also get access to 2 new mentors. Jacko teaches me the Hero's Pose, Elite Beam, Elite Shooting, Super Elite Combo, and the Dual Super Elite Combo skills. Pan teaches me the Dancing Para Para, Prepare to be Punished, Faint Shot, Maiden Blast, and the Dual Maiden Blast skills. With that, we have some more PQs to do. The Room to Spare PQ gives me the Counter Burst skill. The Eternal Rival PQ gives me the Warp Kamehameha skill. And once I obtain that skill, I can go back to the story mode and fight the Masked Saiyan and Mira, and then head back to the Time Nest for more PQs. The Parent and Child PQ gives me the Key Explosion skill. The Heated Furious Ultimate Battle PQ gives me the Dust Attack skill. The Great Ape Festival PQ gives me the Mighty Explosive Wave skill. The Return of the Giant Ape Festival gives me the Dimensional Hole skill. Why is this PQ called Giant Ape and the previous PQ says Great Ape? Why does Janemba, Turles, and Lord Slug appear in the Giant Ape PQ? Why is this PQ immediately after the previous Great Ape PQ? These are all excellent questions, and I will answer them all never. Before we move on to the story, I have a confession to make. Unbeknownst to me, Broly becomes available as a mentor after the Buu Saga, and I didn't know about it until now. You unlock him as a mentor by flying in the space above the PQ area and near the World Tournament area. He fights you, screams Kakarot, and then you can make him your best friend. This run has taught me a valuable lesson that when I intend on doing challenges like this, I should probably do some planning and research before I do so. Unfortunately, however, this does add another tally to the cheat counter. Anyways, Broly teaches me the skills Blaster Shell, Blaster Meteor, Gigantic Omega, Gigantic Meteor, and the Dual Gigantic Meteor skills. Back to the story, and we realize that the Masked Saiyan is actually Goku Jr.? He dies, and then in an actually pretty cool twist that I forgot about, we fight our character from the first Xenoverse game. We beat her up, and then we go back to the Time Nest. Yet again, we have a decent variety of tasks in front of us as we begin to reach the finale of the story mode. For starters, someone from the very beginning of the video becomes relevant again. After almost 200 hours since starting this challenge, Bojack is here again. I couldn't finish his mentorship earlier because I needed to fight every blue exclamation point that popped up on the map after every story mission, and I have finally fought the last one. This means Bojack will finally teach me the rest of his moves, and after the most annoying mentor mission in the game, where Bojack literally just runs away and guards the entire time, he teaches me the skill Trap Shooter. Next, he teaches me the Psycho Barrier skill, and after spending even more TP medals for his stupid clothing, he gives me the Grand Smasher and the Dual Grand Smasher skills. I also purchased the Kamehameha Boost, Punisher Drive, and Senko Ki Blast from the skill shop. PQ-wise, we have the Wake Up PQ, which gives me the After Image Strike. The Ultimate Brotherly Battle PQ gives me the Dragon Burn skill. The Dangerous Duo, Warriors Never Rest PQ, gives me the Charge skill. The Saiyan Warriors PQ gives me the Saiyan Spirit skill. The Power Berserker PQ gives me the Zigzag Express skill. The Yamcha's number 1 PQ gives me the Neo Wolf Fang Fist skill. And with that, we can continue the story where you're asleep and you need to wake up. We then fight Toa at the point in history where our Xenoverse 1 character got summoned at the beginning of that game. After that is taken care of, we do some PQs. The Saiyan Battle PQ gives me the Atomic Blast skill. The Evil Seeks Dragon Balls Yet Again PQ gives me the Boo Boo Ball skill. Finally, the Super Ultimate Series of Battles PQ gives me the Victory Rush skill. I am really getting tired of doing one singular mission in the story and then having to do 6 PQs every time I watch a cutscene. Thankfully, that ends now. Going back to the story, and you're in a coma, and it's time to wake up. Toa then steals an egg to make a Mira omelet. Our OC dies. I literally run away from Mira to wait for the dialogue to finish. Mira turns supervillain, chokes Toa, goes even further beyond into Super Saiyan 5. Goku shows up. Mira explodes. The Ghost of Christmas Past shows up. I use a strike skill despite having a Ki Blast build. I watch the credits, put some mozzarella sticks in my air fryer while I wait for the credits to finish, watch Beerus take a candy shot to the face, ignore the rest of the cutscene because my mozzarella sticks were ready, and finally finish the story after 290 hours. This run has been strangely painful in some areas and remarkably easy in others. There hasn't been any point in the run where I spent several hours grinding RNG and still getting screwed by it. I'm just relieved that I can finally see the finish line at this point. With that in mind, seriously, you need to wake up. In this section, I have obtained 79 skills for a total amount of 488 skills in 290 hours. Which means we can now finally move on to the postgame. Let's begin. First things first, we unlock a new mentor. Son Goku gives me the skills Spirit Bomb, Instant Transmission, ×10 Kamehameha, Super Kamehameha, and the Dual Super Kamehameha. Once I max out Goku's friendship and get said Dual Super Kamehameha, Beerus will give me the Super Saiyan God transformation, which was foreshadowed at the beginning of the video. How crazy is it that the earliest I can obtain the Super Saiyan God transformation is several missions after I obtain the Super Saiyan Blue transformation, which is obtained several missions after I obtain the Beast transformation, which is obtained several arcs after I obtained the Ultra Instinct transformation. Who planned this shit? The fucking Pilaf gang? Whatever. A quick shopping spree allows me to purchase the Power Pole combo, Quick Sleep, Serious Bomb, Energy Zone, and the Explosive Wave skills from the skill shop. We also have the final batch of PQs for this video, and oh boy am I glad. Playing through these is fine, but trying to make it sound interesting for a video is surprisingly hard. There's only so many ways you can say I got X skill from Y parallel quest. Anyways, the final group of PQs are as follows. The Gathering of the Great Evil Alliance PQ gives me the skill I Bomber. The Revenge of the Tuffle PQ gives me the Maiden Burst skill. The Ultimate Power Ultimate Saiyan PQ gives me the Bluff Kamehameha skill. The Super 17, the Ultimate Android PQ, gives me the Flash Bomber and Drain Field skills. The Shadow Dragons PQ gives me the Absolute Zero skill. And the final PQ that can give me a skill is the Insidious Plot PQ, which gives me the Charged Key Wave and Phantom Fist skills. That's it. I have finally conquered all 184 PQs in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Thank God. I do still have some mindless grinding to do with the expert missions, however. I was able to get all of the skills in a few attempts per mission, so this honestly didn't take me too long. Just sit tight while I rapid fire them. The A History of Mixed Battles expert mission gives me the Dead End Rain, Rage Saucer, and the Bloody Sauce skills. The Huge Blast for Huge Apes expert mission gives me the Shocking Death Ball skill. The Extreme Malice expert mission gives me the Blue Hurricane and Marbling Drop skills. Doing the Realm of the Gods Vegeta expert mission gives me the skill Super Spirit Bomb. Doing the Realm of the Gods Goku expert mission gives me the Spirit Sword skill. The Ultimate Evil Broly expert mission gives me the Focus Flash and Gigantic Ki Blast skills. A Truly Hellish Transformation expert mission gives me the Tail Slicer and Brainwash attack skills. The Harbinger of Doom expert mission gives me the Data Input and Peeler Storm skills. With that, we have completed every expert mission in the game. Next up, we have the post-game story where we actually play as Goku Jr. and fight off Mira. He goes Super Saiyan 3, Mira sulks, and we unlock Goku Jr. as a mentor. He teaches me the Tyrant Lancer, Rebellion Spear, Riot Javelin, Brave Heat, and the Dual Brave Heat skills. I am also able to purchase the Pressure Sign skill from the shop. With that, we can continue the post-game story where this time we revisit that scene from earlier with future Gohan and Trunks. This time, however, he chooses Gohan over his time patrol duty and causes a disruption in history as a result. We have the choice to fix this disruption or to let it go, and we choose to let it go. By doing this, we unlock the Future Super Saiyan skill, and Future Goku Jr. becomes the final mentor in the game. Future Goku Jr. teaches me the Super Explosive Wave, Sonic Rush, Energy Dome, One-Handed Kamehameha Mark II, and the Dual One-Handed Kamehameha. The One-Handed Kamehameha Mark II he taught me was so powerful it actually crashed my game. That right there is like a mountain plateau. It's hilarious! With that, we have officially done everything in the base game and we can now move on to the DLC stories. The only DLC story that gives me skills is the one where we meet Fu, who glitches out the first mission he's in. As a result, I have no idea who he is or what he's about because all of the dialogue in the mission activated immediately to where I can't even read what's going on. Cool. The Supreme Kai of Time then informs me of our next task. In order to get Fu's skills, we have to complete the Togepedia. The Togepedia is a branching choose-your-own adventure style group of missions centered around the return of the Demon King Dabura. I have to make every choice available in the Togepedia to obtain Fu's skills. This is a very long process, but after a few hours, I eventually obtain the skills Confusion Blade, Energy Minefield, Sneaky Strike, Remote Serious Bomb, and the Dual Remote Serious Bomb. After the Togepedia is completed, we can now do some new DLC story missions. These missions don't give me any skills, so I won't bore you with the details and just move on to the final part of the new content available to me. The current final part of the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 story is a visual novel. In this visual novel, you run around Toki Toki City with Broly and Shalai, I think that's how you pronounce her name, and get up to some wacky shenanigans. Eventually, once you progress far enough, Broly will give you the skills Gigantic Cross, Saiyan Blaster, and Gigantic Nova. With that, we are finally done with all of the content that Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 has to offer, which means we only have one thing left to do. The final part of this challenge is spent at the TP Metal Shop. As I mentioned earlier, in order to afford every single available skill in the TP Metal Shop, I would have to grind out summoning Shenron and wishing for 200 TP medals over and over and over and over and over again. The process took me several hours, and it was awful. I almost gave up on this challenge because of this. But I managed to push through and obtain the following skills from the TP Metal Shop. The Big Bang Kamehameha, Special Beam Blast, Hyper Movement, Dimension Ray, One-Handed Kamehameha, Super Gallic Gun, Super Vanishing Ball, Last Emperor, Emperor's Sign, Gallic Cannon, Chaos Shot, Emperor's Blast, Menacing Flare, Jumping Energy Wave, Wild Hunt, Emperor's Edge, Super Black Kamehameha, Final Explosion, Dragon Fist, Sword of Hope, Divine Lasso, Final Shine Attack, Final Kamehameha, Impulse Slash, Secret Poison, Times 100 Big Bang Kamehameha, Burning Strike, Namek Finger, Dual Meteor Explosion, Dual Dragon Fist, Aura Slide, Divine Retribution, Spirit Stab, Savage Strike, Dual Masenko, Sudden Death Beam, Dual Gigantic Roar, Dual Super Black Kamehameha, Dual Gigantic Burst, Godly Display, Soaring Fist, Divine Kamehameha, Dual Electric Strike, Dual Super Spirit Bomb, Dual Warp Kamehameha, Dual Brave Sword Attack, Dual Assault Rain, Dual Times 100 Big Bang Kamehameha, Dual Burning Strike, Dual Power Rush, Dual Dimension Ray, Dual Divine Lasso, Dual Minus Energy Powerball, Dual Prominence Flash, Dual Final Shine Attack, Dual Final Kamehameha, and finally, the Dual Revenge Death Ball skill. That's it. That's every available skill that I can obtain in the game, with an asterisk. In case you're curious, the total amount of TP medals required to obtain every skill from the TP Metal Shop and the necessary clothing for Bojack's training missions is 14,515. In order to obtain the TP medals required, I had to summon Shenron 73 times to afford this. If I had known about the fast method of farming Dragon Balls from the get-go, this would have taken me 43 hours of non-stop Dragon Ball farming. Now, as I said previously, I wasn't always using the fast method of Dragon Ball farming, so it likely took me significantly longer to grind them out. I also spent $10 in STP medals to finish what I thought was the last of the grind. To finish this spiel, I also obtained TP medals through doing the missions and spent TP medals on things that didn't matter. As a result, my stats are not going to reflect the specific stats that I've given here. This playthrough took a lot of time and offered a lot of headache, which leads me to my final point. I cannot complete the challenge. The final handful of skills in the game are currently unobtainable to me. This is because they are obtained from an event that happens randomly in real time. The World Tournament event where you can fight the Supreme Kai of Time is the only way you can obtain the skills Temporal Holy Ray, Kairos Cannon, Godly Chronos Cannon, Holy Inscription, Time-Space Impact, and the Chaos Wall. These are the only skills that are completely unobtainable to me at the time of recording. I could wait an unknown amount of time and hope that the event happens, but my hard drive is currently full of 400 gigabytes of footage of just this specific challenge, so I'm not particularly interested in waiting. I want to work on other projects, and I think I've experienced everything that Xenoverse 2 has to offer. So with that in mind, would I recommend you doing this challenge? If you don't include the TP Metal Shop, then maybe. The challenge was a lot of fun when I was greatly underpowered and I was scrapping the bottom of the barrel looking for any usable skill at the beginning of the challenge. And as much as I complained about the grind throughout this challenge, I do enjoy doing these grindy challenges. It's just that Xenoverse 2 has a lot to be desired. Just like in the first Xenoverse game, there is a lot of jank and lack of quality of life in the game. I'm sure I've lost a literal day of my life just waiting for the cutscenes and loading screens to end. The gameplay is good, but gets pretty stale after a while. I turned off the music pretty early on due to a lack of variety, and I just don't think they had a consistent plan for the design of the game during development. I do like the game, but I don't think I'll be coming back to it soon. So, with that in mind, in this challenge, I played for a total of 320 hours. I made 76 wishes to Shenron, I completed all 20 expert missions, I completed all 184 parallel quests, all to obtain a total amount of 597 skills. Thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then do me a solid. I want you specifically to do a challenge like this and upload it to YouTube. Definitely not for Xenoverse, but playing games you like in a vastly different way than what is intended by the developers is a lot of fun, and I personally enjoy watching them. So, with that in mind, I'm out. Editing this gave me carpal tunnel, and I'm gonna go play some video games. Have a good one. Oh, and one more thing.
Star enabled me to cheat that! How could this be?